Okay, guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about organic strategy as it relates to ads specifically. And a lot of people think that the two are separate. And I'm here to tell you that they are not. They're one and the same. And I'm going to use my client Laura here as an example because this is an ad that we're running. Okay. And I want to just explain to you what happens. So the reason that I like ads that look like social media is they're designed to act like that. But what that means is people are often going to treat it like social media. And if you think about your own interaction on Instagram specifically, what do you typically do when you see someone you like? You may follow them. You may not click on an ad if it's an ad because you might not even know it's an ad. Or what you may do is you may click their profile. Okay, so I want to make sure that you're doing two things here. Number one, you're priming your profile. Okay, and number two, you're following through on the back end of your organic. And I'll talk about what I mean by that. And then I'll get into kind of how to use organic as a great testing ground. We'll go from there. Now, Laura obviously has, she has a good following. She has 283,000 followers on social media, certainly more than the average person, but she actually gets a tremendous amount of engagement. So like her overview, I think her reach, like she gets more reach in organic than she does from ads. So she gets a lot of views, and most of it, she got 1.4 million organic views in the last 28 days. So her content is obviously very good. And so it goes well beyond her followers. This is important because not everyone is going to go click on your ad. And if they come to your organic and there is a bunch of images and pictures of your family and a bunch of political stuff, you're going to lose people. Okay, you are going to lose sales. Now, that may not matter to you. You may be firm about your political stance and all that stuff. But guys, I'm here to help you build a business, okay? And having a bunch of politics all over your page is not going to be smart. And if you look at her content, she's got a lot of, obviously these are reels, but her posts, it's not real fancy. Like now, granted, her market doesn't need it to be very fancy. She's dealing with menopause, so the market tends to be a little bit older, obviously, but she does very, very well. Okay. She got a really good offer. So I would recommend priming your profile, having a link to the page you want to drive traffic to, having your call to action. That's that, very basic stuff, but the content matters too. Okay. And that content is part of the ecosystem. So you look back at my dual nurture marketing ecosystem, social nurture is a part of it. Steps. And so 2 steps we run not only with SMS and email. We run it in the community, but we'll drop them on social too. If you want my ex, comment this and I'll send it to you. That's a 2-step. Okay. And so social becomes a really big part of that marketing ecosystem because people are coming here and they're going to ask one question. Who is this person and can I learn from them? Don't get so caught up with the number of followers. Whatever you do, don't go out and buy fake followers. My God, please don't do that. And if you've done that, do not run ads from that profile that you bought followers from because you will never have a successful ad account. I've never seen it because typically paid for followers are trash. They have no data points and it just poisons your pixel. So poisons your ad account. So please don't do that. Laura's never paid for followers. She built it organically over many, many years. And she actually started out in just the fitness space. And then over the last few years, migrated over to just to menopause and kind of niched down into menopause portion of the wellness fitness space. So you can migrate your account to your niche and do it effectively. So if you've poisoned something, you've got a bat and you need to start fresh, don't worry about it. Go ahead and do it. Okay. Start fresh, but do it right. But the content you put on here is all nurture based. So she's not trying to post things to grow organically. It's just happening that way. Her biggest emphasis is not messaging DM followers. They don't do a lot of that. Her biggest emphasis is driving people to her menopause lab school community and running ads. And we run ads to that as well, because that's where her focus is to educate people. Now, I'm not saying you need to focus on giving away a bunch of free content. Okay. Her market needs it because they're a little older. They're a little more sophisticated. They tend to be higher earners. Those people tend to make more logical buying decisions than emotional buying decisions. So they have a longer nurture process. They need more. It's why, because we've added so much into her ecosystem, she's been able to do a lot better and have a lot more sustainability with her results because we know the market, we know the avatar, right? So yours may not need it. If you're in the finance space, for example, I have a friend of mine, he's in the finance space. He runs to a challenge and gets like a 8x on ads, and he could do even more if you wanted to. It's more of like not wanting to have a bunch of team and chaos and all that stuff. His day to close or average close is very quick, right? It might be a few days, whereas Laura's might be much longer, might be months. And that's just the market. Okay. So your content matters on social media, and the organic is something that gets overlooked a lot. A lot of people just throw up profiles like their personal profile and it's a bunch of personal images and stuff. Don't do that. Like when I created my Elite Marketer brand, I created an entirely new Instagram page that I run ads from. Much smaller. I think my personal one, I've got thousands of followers, and that's from friends and people that I've met over the years. But I put personal stuff on there too. Right? I'm not going to run ads from that. Same thing with my Facebook page. My Facebook page is 100% my Elite Marketer brand, and I don't mix personal with business into that. Okay, so that's really important. So that's the first thing, is making sure that you understand the importance of organic when it comes to nurture. And what kind of post should you do? People ask me all the time, what should my organic strategy be? Get ready for this, because this is massive. Just solve problems. Create a master list of all of the pain points, problems, frustrations, maybe even goals and desires of your target audience, and create content around that. And if you're not sure, go in and ask ChatGPT. Say, here, my target audience is this, between this age and this age, my offer is this. Can you list me out the top 50? I would do like top 10 major pain and frustrations of my target audience. And then you can create content around that. Now, I'll use Laura as an example. So one of the more popular concepts, obviously, for women in menopause is weight gain. She calls it the menobelly. Okay. And so menobelly would be like a category, but inside of menobelly could be a lot of content that relates to what causes that, right? It could be, inflammation, or it could be results, the symptoms, I should say, that women have from these results. Or if you look at fitness and weight loss as an example, you might have, a target audience who, not having enough time to prepare meals is a pain point or a frustration. Well, you could create so much content around that. Right? So all of the pain and frustrations can give you categories, and inside of those categories can give you so much content. And you can use social media or use things like ChatGPT to help you create your social media topics. Don't have it write your scripts and stuff for you for your social content, because you really want to speak from your heart. And that's one of the things that makes Laura very effective, is when she does her reels, when she gets a lot of engagement organically, like I showed you, because she's authentic. Right? She's not reading a script. She's just dropping truth bombs and knowledge, and it helps nurture the process. Okay. So that's sort of the nurture strategy and organic strategy as it relates to ads. The other way that you can use your organic is a testing ground. And we do this with Laura all the time. We do it with all of our clients who have even just a small social following. We say, hey, I want to test an angle. Can you create me a post that says this? And I'll give her like a breakdown, or my media buyer will give her a breakdown of what we want her to talk about. Or maybe it's something that she did on her own that happened to drop really well. And we do our weekly call, our strategy call. We have a conversation and, hey, this dropped there, this did really well. Or I'll even go in and look at like the top content, and I'll say to my media buyer, hey, let's test this as an ad. Whereas a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll go in and they'll test the ads in the ad account first, and then they'll put it on social, which is complete opposite. Why would you do that? Social's free. Now, this, of course, assumes that you have a little bit of a target audience that follows you. Now, let's say that you're just starting out in your fitness journey as a fitness coach, or I'll use finance because I've used in fitness a lot. So let's say you've been in the finance world and you're breaking out to become your consultant, and you're launching a finance course, and all of your followers are buddies from your high school, or in your college frat, or your sorority, if you're a female. And none of them are your target audience. That is not going to be a good testing ground, right? Where your aunts and uncles and cousins and moms are going to make fun of you and laugh at you, and your frat bros are going to drop, obscenities in the comments, right? That's not going to be effective. So obviously, if you have a little bit of a social following, a few thousand people even, that's all you need. That is your target audience, the market that you want to work with. You could drop something in here and test it and see if it gets a good response. And if it does, then you can bring it over to your ad account. So I like to use organic as a test place to drop content. We also will do that in her school community. When we talk about creating lead magnets on our strategy calls, things that we need to use and test out and use for reactivation, we'll test it with her school community. And, hey guys, I've just released this. If you want it, comment back this, I might turn that into a lead magnet for an ad, maybe a retargeting ad, maybe something else. Okay. There's a lot of things you can do to test that organic strategy first before you spend the money on it and run it as an ad. And this is important as you're trying to optimize your spend. My client Laura wants to keep her ad spend very, very low. Trust me, I want her to triple it. She could. I mean, she could spend $1 million a month on ad and she could probably make 4 or 5 million a month, get like a 4x return. And some of you might be thinking, well, she's getting a 10x. Why can't she get a 10x? Well, I mean, possible. But one of the things that you're going to learn about, and this is a good lesson, one of the things you're going to learn about as you try to scale is it's not linear, right? Typically it flattens out the more you spend. And that's just because the broader you go, the more you start to get out there, the less qualified the leads are and the harder it is to find those pockets of the right people. And it gets expensive and you just lose margin. That's just what happens. Keep that in mind. It's not just about spending more money sometimes. That's not the answer. You want to do it very systematically and make sure that you have a right system in place. You want to make sure that you've got all this stuff dialed in, that you're not leaking out profits before you start to try to scale anymore. Okay. So there you go. That's my little take on organic. Hopefully that's useful to you guys. I'll see you in the next lesson.